Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources. Welcome to today's edition of Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network. Whether you are caring for a senior, are a senior, or just plan to be one, we hope you'll enjoy today's program.
On today's edition of Helping Seniors TV, senior time is a great time to travel, as long as you know the ins and outs of traveling safely and comfortably. Listen in as Helping Seniors TV host Joe Steckler talks with travel expert Carrie Bryniak of Must Love Travel on travel for seniors.
Joe Steckler, folks. It's really a privilege today to have the panelists I have on the show. Carrie Bryniak. I got it right?
You got
Bryniak.
it right.
I got it right. But we've never had a travel agent on our series of shows, and almost over 500 shows, Carrie.
Wow.
We've never had.
Well, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
You know, my wife would love to go on cruises and go to all these places. But like a lot of people, we waited, and now a lot of medical problems have caught up with me, and it's harder to get away and do things. So I think that people have to understand that maybe if you want to do some of these things, you better start thinking about doing them earlier.
True.
But you have to temper all that with how much you're going to save for retirement, how much you're going to do this. There are a lot of people that like to live by maxing out their credit cards, and they travel, they do everything. They don't think about saving anything. And a lot of people, if we go out and spend $50 on a meal for a husband and a wife, if once a month you just didn't do that $50 meal and you put it away into a bank, and you start when you're 25 years old, by the time you were 60 or 65, you'd have a significant amount of money in the bank that you could do the things that you wanted to do, travel and using a travel agent and finding really good deals. And we want to talk about that because it's, if we have an ability to talk about something on the air, on television, that help people improve their quality of life and do something they want to do, even if it's only taking a cruise.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of trips out there, from the short weekend getaways where you can just spend some time together to those bucket list kind of travel, things that you've been planning for all your life and saving.
Yeah. Which leads me to the question, how did Carrie Bryniak get involved in being a travel agent?
That's a good question. It was a little bit roundabout. I started off as a librarian in Ohio, and my husband and I moved to Florida, and I decided, you know what, I had always loved to travel. My grandmother inspired that in me. She and my grandfather would travel when we were younger, and she would send me back postcards from wherever they went. And I collected those postcards, and I kept them in a box, and I would go through them.
You still have them?
I still have them. And I go through them every so often just to remind me. So I wanted to be able to do that for families, to inspire families to travel, to make it easier for them to travel and create those memories. Because when it comes down to it, you can work all you want, but what you really have when it's the end of the day is your memories. So cherish that.
You've summarized the whole show in about 2 sentences. Really. Memories.
Memories, yes.
Memories. Almost everything that we do on radio, television, the work we do with helping seniors, it all is about really memories. Can we do something to ensure a person has a positive or good memory of a situation? It's so important.
Yes.
A mind full of bad memories is devastating. But a mind full of good memories makes the living of life a lot more worthwhile.
It does.
I really think it does.
It really does.
So, really, what is a travel agent? Most of us think of go drive down the road, we'll see a sign that says, well, in your case, it must love travel. We look for a sign that says must love travel. But in your case, you're not going to see that sign.
That's correct. I do work out of my home. So I work for a family-owned company. The company's been around for 20 years, and I'm proud to be part of a family company. That's important to me. And a travel agent today is really someone with expertise that makes, traveling easy, makes it accessible for people that maybe they have some medical problems or they have a spouse with medical problems. It's a concierge kind of service. I'm there to do all that research because a lot of people are busy these days. They're working, even in retirement, some people are working, and they don't have the time or the knowledge to be able to plan a trip and put it together and be sure that they're getting what they want for the money that they're spending. So we want to make sure that that's a good trip and have those good memories.
Years ago, we had a funeral we had to attend in Washington, D.C., and both my wife and I, at that point, Terry had a back operation, and I've got this fibromyalgia, and I'd had some heart problems. But walking, when we think travel, I always have to associate Atlanta, Georgia with my travel, because if you fly, inevitably, you have to go through that doggone concourse there at Atlanta, and
it's huge.
They geared so that if you're in concourse D, that your next flight is out of concourse A.
Yeah, sometimes it really does feel like that.
It does, and it's. I can remember trying to hurry, and if you have a problem with walking and you want to hurry but you can't hurry, you just can't do it. You can miss your flight.
Right.
But I remember we made one trip, and this one airline had people that met us, put us in wheelchairs, got us to the next service. And that was all arranged through the travel agency. I'm pretty sure that Terry did it that way. Do you do things like that?
I do. In fact, someone that I had helped recently, she was down here because her father had broken his hip, and she needed to transport him back to Colorado to be near her for rehab, and she was at a loss as to what to do, how to make that happen. So I was able to go ahead and put her in touch with a company, and I arranged with the company to have him transported from Courtney Springs to the airport in a wheelchair transport van, so he wouldn't have to get up. We made sure that the airlines met them outside with the wheelchair, that he had the time to transfer into the plane, made it easy through security. They had transport waiting for them in Colorado to take them to the rehab facility there, and I worked with the rehab facility in Colorado. So that's not my typical kind of arrangements for travel, but it is something we do. And I'm very versed in, how I can assist people with the airlines or even on a cruise ship. There's special needs at sea. We can do things like CPAP machines, medical equipment, scooters, wheelchairs, all of that, we can arrange to have sent to the ship without you having to worry about it.
Are you telling me that you have people that want to go on a cruise that use a scooter on board?
Yes.
Frankly, I can't imagine that myself. I cannot imagine having to get on one of these electric carts and go around the ship.
It's interesting, and it can take a little getting used to, I'm sure, with the driving, with the ship moving, but yes, we do. We can make anything possible, pretty much.
See, in my 38 years in the Navy, we didn't have elevators on ships.
No, you didn't.
We didn't have that.
You didn't.
No. You had to go up and down ladders, and those electric carts would not have worked well going up and down ladders.
Not so much. No, I think they frown on that.
Why should a person use a travel agent?
So that's a good question. And it's one that I do hear. One of the things I hear a lot is, well, I can go online. I can do that myself. Why would I use you?
Right.
Well, you would use me because, first of all, why do you want to spend all that time searching online? Did you know that one of the properties I book has 26 different room categories? Do you know the difference in those room categories? Probably not.
No.
But I do. I have the training and the background. I've been put through different classes to get to know my products, and I really can direct you. I have relationships with my vendors. So in the event that something does come up, I have someone that I can contact, and I can be an advocate for you. I can put together a customized itinerary for you, so you're not wandering through the airport. From the time I book my clients to the time they leave, we're in contact at least once a month, whether I'm sending them a map of the airport so they know how to get from one terminal to the other, or it's just little travel tips. If they're traveling internationally, do they know about the STEP program that the State Department has?
What's a STEP program?
So that allows you to register with the State Department, let them know where you're traveling, so if you are abroad and there is an emergency, they'll send you an alert. So for instance, my husband and I, we had just traveled on a river cruise to Germany, and we registered, and there were going to be some protests in Germany and Austria. So we were notified by email to avoid a certain area because there would be protests there. So it's things like that, and they can also get in touch with you, if there is, something, God forbid, like a terrorist attack. They can make sure that you're okay and make arrangements to get you out if need be.
Okay, a long shot question.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of burial insurance?
Yes.
What is it?
So burial insurance, correct me if I'm wrong, it makes sure that you can be buried wherever, like you can.
Right, and say if you're going to go on a trip,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're going to fly on an airplane, if you have this insurance and you die in a foreign country, they'll get you back. And because if you die in a foreign country and you don't have that kind of insurance in the first place, there are a tremendous number of legal problems with getting
Mm-hmm.
the body back to the United States.
Correct.
Secondly, the financial cost of doing it is exorbitant.
Yes, it's in the double digits.
And so then if you purchase the insurance, it makes the legal aspects easier and it relieves you of the financial burden and the after paying for it. It wasn't until about maybe a year and a half ago that I first became aware of this type of insurance, and I've done insurance shows, I've done everything. And it's just like the crew that films here, they watch what we talk about on here, and Carrie Fink, who is the owner of TYG Media, he'll often comment about the fact that he learns things from listening to me talk to the panelists, but I learn things too from listening to what the panelists say. And I think the fact that there are so many things that a travel agent can bring. You mentioned something earlier. A lot of us think that, oh, gee, I can go on the internet and I can find a flight that's much cheaper, and because I can spend more time. Why is it, or how does a travel agent really make that kind of thing happen quicker, or
Sure.
Why can you do a better job of that, Carrie? That's what I want to know.
So I can package things. So like you talked about the burial insurance, I can put everything from flights to your trip to transportation to your travel insurance, which I always encourage my clients to get because you just never know. And you don't want to be in that situation, if something happens. If you're on a cruise or you're out of the country and you need to be medically evacuated, like you said, it's very expensive, or repatriating the remains back to the U.S. I can make sure that you're going to be covered no matter what event that you go for. So when you're looking yourself, do you know where to put yourself in a resort? Do you know if you're going to end up across the resort property and you're going to have a 20-minute walk to your restaurants? Or, are you going to end up under the galley in the ship and hear banging all night long? Because
in my condition, I just lose a lot of weight because I wouldn't be eating.
Well, yes. So, we don't want you to go through that. So I can make sure, for instance, when I look at flights for my clients, if you're coming back in from Europe, you have to go through customs and security and everything like that. So if you book yourself a 40-minute layover, chances are you're missing your next flight because you're not going to clear customs and security in time.
Amount of time.
Right. But maybe you don't know that, and maybe that's the cheapest flight option, so you picked it. Those are the things that I take into consideration.
And there are probably entry ports that you can get through quicker than other entry ports.
Correct.
But you would know that.
Exactly. And I would encourage clients that are traveling frequently to look at something like global entry. It'll save them time. It's an upfront cost, but over the time that you're traveling, the ease with which you can clear through customs and things like that is just so much easier.
How about getting good deals? Let's say a person has never been on a cruise, and you asked me about, you said, I think you used the word 26 different types of cabin occupancies. See, I spent many, many years at sea in the Navy, and I know that looking out the porthole, it's just water. So it wouldn't make any difference to me. It wouldn't make any difference to me if I had an inside or an outside room. But the difference in cost between an inside and an outside room sometimes can be astronomical.
That's very true.
So how do you, in working with your clients, find it might be suggestive for you to say to a client, you don't need this, and this is this. How do you do things like that?
So what I like to do is I really like to get to know my clients, first of all. We talk about their interests. We talk about what types of places they may have been in the past. And that gives me a sense of what's going to work best for them. And then I kind of come up with some top suggestions. We're taking into account their budget, any kind of mobility issues. Maybe they need to be nearby to elevators, and that's something they're not thinking of, but maybe in the course of a conversation it comes out to me. So I can, keep those considerations in mind. And then we talk about, well, for just a little bit more, maybe you can do this room, and this is why you want to do that, because sometimes cheapest is not best. So we plan ahead. If they have a certain budget, a lot of times planning ahead is key. That
Right.
allows them the time, and they can make payments and do things like that. And maybe within an ocean view room, there might be 3 different categories of stateroom. So maybe we get them a little bit lower in an ocean view and save them some money, but still get them what they want. So it's all in give and take and just learning about my clients to make things happen for them.
When you get back to the subject of airline travel, you see airlines advertise this quick trip to Washington, D.C., or this is a no-frills flight, and can you really, do you have to work months ahead of time to get flights that really, why pay $700 or $800 or $1,000 for a flight when you can get it for $200 or $300?
Mm-hmm.
How do you work with clients to make those kind of things happen?
So with things like that, a lot of time it goes back to really sitting down and showing them what it costs out to. Spirit Airlines, for example, is one that charges for different things. So while that introductory advertised fare may look like something, well, perhaps you're not getting luggage, so you're paying for that. And if you want to choose your seat, then you're going to pay for that. And if you want carry-on, maybe you're going to pay for that. And if you want a meal, you're going to pay for that. So by the time you've added that all together, maybe we should have gone with just the legacy carrier like a United or a Delta or something like that, because in the end, that's going to be more cost-effective for my client. So booking 2 to 3 months out for flights, it's not bad, in terms of being able to book close up. Booking 6 months out is probably a little bit better because we can have some time and we can watch the airfares because they can change up to 4 times a day.
Let's say that we book our flight way out ahead of time, and you have to change it.
Yeah.
There used to be things that said, no, you can't change the flight, or it's going to cost you an arm and leg to change the flight, or can you buy insurance to when you purchase a ticket to mitigate the effect of having to pay or losing the fare? Or how do you work all that?
So it's really paying attention to that fine print. And that's kind of what I take a look at for my clients. Some of the fine print says, you can change it. It's a flexible air rate. So maybe you pay a little bit more up front, but you want that flexibility. So you have that flexibility and you're not necessarily paying a change fee. Whereas clients who have set plans and we know they're really not going to change, we can go for a lower cost airfare and then we insure the trip. And if something happens, they can file a claim with their travel insurance company and try to either recoup that cost, or sometimes the airline will grant a future credit toward travel. So it's really those fine print.
Let's say if a person does everything that you said they're going to do, and it becomes necessary to try to file a claim to get your money back, do you help them with that?
So I can provide them all the necessary documentation, usually that they'll need, but I'm a travel agent and not an insurance agent, so I'm not licensed to do, which you would know, I'm not licensed to do that part of it, but I kind of assist them, and here's your phone number to call, here's all your documentation.
You can get them pointed in the right direction.
Correct.
And if they didn't go through a travel agent, they wouldn't have that kind of service available.
Right. And maybe they picked, there's a lot of different travel insurance companies out there, and some are not as equal as others in terms of the plans that they offer. For instance, one of my favorites is Travel Guard. And what I like about them is if you purchase the travel insurance within 15 days of depositing your trip, it covers pre-existing conditions. So for me, having that, if something were to happen with my grandparents back home while I'm traveling, I'm covered because it would have been a pre-existing condition. With some medical problems and things like that, if that would be a pre-existing condition, but you've already gotten your travel insurance and you're covered if something happens before you.
So I could switch my flight, then it wouldn't cost me.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about.
There is.
There is a lot to think about. The one of the things I had on there, I said, do you arrange for special needs on flights such as A, meals on non-serving flights. You know, most of the flights, hardly any flights that I've ever flown here recently on, serve a meal. They don't do it anymore.
That's correct.
They might give you half of a sandwich, but generally it's peanuts or Ritz crackers or something like that. Do airlines still serve meals?
They do. It does tend to be on longer flights. Usually your cross-country flights domestically, there would be meal options. And sometimes it's based on your service class. So for instance, if you're in economy, you would pay for your meal. If you were traveling business class or even maybe a premium economy, your meal might be included. But what I can do for you, you know, in things like that, when we talk about that, one of the things I ask right away is, do you have any dietary needs? For instance, my husband's allergic to eggs. So that can make airplanes. Yes, airplanes.
How does he live if he can't eat eggs?
He can eat certain things, but we have to be careful. You know, and traveling on an airplane can, you know, he flies a lot for work. It can be challenging for him because he would have to request a special meal. Otherwise, he probably can't eat half of what would come.
So if you really got mad at him, you could give him eggs disguised as something else, and you're not telling him anything about it.
But then I suffer because then he's miserable.
You'd have to take care of him.
Yeah, I'd have to take care of him. So I don't want to do that.
But think about what you could do. He wouldn't know what you'd done to him because he would never suspect you of doing something like that.
That's true, because I would never do that.
Carrie, in the 5 minutes we have left, there's a couple more questions I want to ask, but talking with you about travel and talking about just having a conversation about something like this is that there's really a lot more to living life than we think about. And I regret very much the fact that I have some of the problems that really limit me in traveling. And while I look like I don't have a problem, right now, as I sit here doing this television show, my legs from my knee up to my hips are driving me crazy, really are, because, and through my shoulders and neck and back, many people live with problems that other people, you look at them and you say, gee, they don't have a care in the world. Yet those people may have some of the most significant burdens or whatever you might want to use that they carry, but they try to make light of a situation. I think that as a travel agent, I go back and I think there used to be a club here. It was managed by a radio announcer called Larry Brewer. It was called the Key Club, and it involved a couple of travel agencies, and they had what they called the Key Club. And they went on cruises. They went to Branson. You do the Branson, Mississippi,
yes, I can do
Missouri?
That.
You do that one too? And the river cruises?
River cruises, those are my favorite. Ocean cruises, river cruises, great way to reconnect with people.
Well, see, that's the type of thing that Larry did with this Key Club and with his travel agents. And I have a vision that maybe with you're now as one of our sponsors, that maybe we can work together to broaden the services of helping seniors to expand so that not only can we help seniors inform and educate them, that we can provide a better way maybe for them to enjoy their senior years.
Yes.
It's not just going on a gambling ship and losing all your money.
No.
It's got to be more than that. You know, not only do you see other parts of the world, other parts of the country, you meet people.
You do.
And that's, as a travel agent, has it been something that's, have you experienced a sort of a feeling of some kind of a feeling about your ability to help people meet people through the travel agents things?
Yes, I do.
How does that work for you?
I mean, it's such a passion of mine to be able to connect people, because I think the more that we get out there and see the world, and I can help people see other parts of the world, we understand each other better. You know, and that's really key. We're all people all over the world, you know, just trying to live our lives and get along and create those memories. And people are traveling with extended families. You know, they're taking the kids out and they're immersing them. One of the big trends today is traveling multi-generational and doing volunteer work while you're out there, helping other people. So it's really an immersion into a culture that you're going to.
I can think of, my wife has traveled all over the world. I've traveled all over the world. She would still love to travel. I don't have that keen an affinity for wanting to travel anymore. I'm happy just to sit at home and have her fix me or fix a simple meal. And I won't mention what my favorite food. She'll probably kill me if I tell you what it was. But life can be simple or it can be complicated. Mm-hmm. And I think that we can do a lot more to make our lives more meaningful if we did do if we have not traveled any. Mm-hmm. It might be a good thing to think about a river cruise or a weekend cruise down to the Cayman Islands or something like that. Mm-hmm. Those things are not expensive, are they?
No, I mean, if you're planning ahead, a short weekend getaway, a Bahamas cruise or whatever, or, even now we can go to Cuba. That's something that wasn't available to people, and that can be done pretty affordably these days. So something I can help with and help you reconnect, because nobody wants to see everybody sitting there on their phones like this.
I know.
We want to talk. So
years ago, when I first went into the military, we could go into Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and then take a train or go up to Havana. Mm-hmm. But then the next time I went down to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, there was a wire across there with machine guns and everything else, and you couldn't go to Havana anymore.
Yep.
So Cuba is a beautiful island, but it's so run down now from neglect and everything else. But this is part of the world. It's part of life, mm-hmm. and that's what travel is.
It is. It is a part of life, and it's a part of learning about other places, other cultures, other people.
What you got 20 seconds to tell the audience why they should go to Must Love Travel.
So Must Love Travel, I'm really here for you guys. I want to get to know you. I want to make your travel dreams come true, because everybody deserves to travel and to get to know people and to spend time with their families and create those memories. So let me help them. Let me help you. I can send you someplace.
Okay. It's pretty good. We have 2 seconds now and 1 second. Thank you, viewer, for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed what Carrie and I have talked about today, because I think it's something we all need to know more about. Thank you, audience. I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we would welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.